Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in 5 minutes. Please silence all cell phones and electronic devices at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation.
Won't you join me in the invocation? Lord, our hearts are full this morning as we gather to witness and celebrate one of the most significant moments in the lives of these soon-to-be officers in the United States Armed Forces. In just a short while, they will raise their hands and swear their oath, ending, "And so help me God." And that is our collective prayer for these men and women, that you would help them, God. Help them in their deepest times of need and in their greatest times of success. Help them to be leaders of consequence and honor. Help them to embody the character and resolve and faith that have sustained them to this point. And may the men and women they lead, entrusted to their care, see it and seek to emulate it. Help them, God, to be compassionate and empathetic, but also fair and demanding of excellence. And above all, we ask that you might help them to live out the spirit of the oath they are about to take, not only for their families, for their loved ones, and for all the citizens of this country, but for you. For it's in your name that we pray and ask, so help them, God, on their behalf. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the 15th Superintendent of Virginia Military Institute, Major General Cedric T. Wins.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Mr. Tom Watson, President of the VMI Board of Visitors, Brigadier General Terry DeJuric, Commandant of Cadet Corps, the Virginia Women's Institute for Leadership, VWIL at Mary Baldwin University, and the entire VMI community, I'm pleased to welcome those who are receiving commissions, their proud families and friends, members of the VMI faculty and staff, and members of the Corps of Cadets. Today's ceremony marks the culmination of 4 or more years of hard work by each of you as you prepare to graduate tomorrow. It also marks the beginning of a life of service to our nation in the tradition that began with the founding of our republic. Moreover, it is the fulfillment of one of the central purposes of the Virginia Military Institute, the preparation and the education of citizen soldiers. To those commissioning today, this ceremony will likely be one of the most memorable moments in your life. We are very fortunate today to have General James C. Slife join us and serve as our commissioning officer. General Slife joined the United States Air Force in 1989 after graduating from the ROTC program at Auburn University. He has spent a career in special operations aviation assignments. He is a decorated pilot with over 3,100 hours in an MH-53 helicopter and the MQ-1 Predator drone. He previously led the Air Force Special Operations Command before his recent promotion to Vice Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force, the second highest military position in the Air Force. General Slife has exhibited outstanding leadership through his lengthy service to our nation. He serves as a role model and inspiration to us all, but especially to the young men and women who have chosen to follow his path. We are honored by his presence and very grateful to welcome him to deliver the commissioning oath today. Also in attendance today are our professors of military science and their staffs from VMI's ROTC departments and those involved with our Coast Guard auxiliary program. I would like to express our deepest thanks to them for their inspiring work in teaching and mentoring these young men and women who are commissioning. I also know that there are many veterans, both currently serving and who have previously served in the military, who are in attendance with us today. I ask that you all stand. We want to express our heartfelt welcome and thanks for your service. If you're a veteran or currently serving, please stand. Last, but certainly not least, I also want to recognize many others here. In particular, our cadets, faculty, staff, parents, grandparents, and other guests. Each of you have provided the support, care, and assistance that helped these cadets arrive at this special moment today. Every successful cadetship is a testament to the hard work of many people. We want to say thank you for your continued support and your encouragement. Thank you. Since the founding of VMI 185 years ago, cadets have always moved towards the sound of conflict to serve our nation. Our country has endured many conflicts, both near and far. At the end of each one, we always hope it will be the last, but that has not been the case. As we speak, danger persists in many parts of the world, including for our NATO allies. Very soon, many of you will join other alumni serving in places like Poland and Germany. The ongoing conflict for the past 2 years in Ukraine highlights the importance of the always staying vigilant and alert and remaining alert in a volatile world. We must have a strong military led by highly educated and skilled officers, men and women of character dedicated to defending the freedoms that we continue to enjoy. The traditional concept of the battlefield has evolved and is no longer confined to specific geographical areas. The nature of warfare is expanding into cyberspace. Professionals from all services now wage combat with remotely guided drones, robots, satellites, and precision-guided munitions, missiles from ships, planes, and from other distant locations. These conditions demand adaptability, competence, wisdom, and courage from the very best of leaders. Cadets, you have developed a foundation based on these skills during your years of study here at VMI. There is no doubt you have been challenged, but now you are prepared. It is your turn to take the skills grounded in a firm ethical foundation and put them to good use. Over 38 years ago, I made the decision to commission and go into the active duty and serve as a field artilleryman. And just like you, I was sworn in as a young officer, directly responsible for the well-being and the readiness of others. My life was soon filled with exacting missions, tough training, rapidly changing responsibilities, and assignments around the world, continuous training, and advancing education and service under remarkable leaders. Above all, I became part of a team of soldiers, sailors, airmen and Marines, and service members' families. You too will come to cherish these same experiences. I want to close by personally congratulating each of you on attaining your commission. This accomplishment should be treasured. Reflect on why you embarked on this mission of service. The Institute could not be prouder of you today. The profession you have chosen will challenge you, but don't lose focus. Take heart in knowing you are following in the footsteps of many alumni that have gone before you to live a life of service to our nation. Our country is fortunate to have citizen soldiers and leaders like yourselves. Good luck to each of you in the years ahead, and please stay in touch. Thank you.
At this time, Colonel Scott will take the podium to introduce General Slife.
Good morning, class of 2024, family, friends, and distinguished visitors. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today, General Jim Slife. General Slife, as you heard General Wins discuss, is the Air Force's second highest position, where he guides the air staff and assists the Chief of Staff with organizing, training, and equipping 689,000 active. Oh, okay, sir.
They don't care.
Okay, well, thank you for coming, sir. We appreciate having you here.
I mean, really, nobody cares. Well, what a privilege it is to be with you today. I'm pausing here because I'm at a precipice. I came prepared with a very witty and clever speech that I thought I might share with you today. But every so often, when you are called on to do public speaking, you get into the moment and you realize that the clever, witty speech that you have is precisely the wrong speech for the moment. And so I'm going to do something that I probably would not advise any of our commissioning officers here to do. I'm going to speak extemporaneously for just a moment about what it is you could expect. And I'm mindful of some of the earliest public speaking advice I got as a younger officer. I was sitting next to a Command Chief Master Sergeant, which in the Air Force is kind of the senior enlisted position. It's the senior enlisted leader in our organizations. And as I was preparing to go up to a podium at one of my early public speaking events, this chief, who'd been in the Air Force for probably somewhere between 75 and 80 years, leaned over to me and said, "Hey, sir, you're going to do fine. Just don't forget the 5 B's." And I said, "Got it, Chief, thanks." And as I got up, I kind of paused for a minute, and I turned around and looked at him and said, "Chief, tell me again, what are the 5 B's?" He said, "Be brief, brother, be brief." So as I reflect on my own commissioning ceremony 35 years ago, I realize that I have absolutely no idea who spoke to me, and I have absolutely no idea what they said. So with a healthy dose of humility, I will at least heed the Chief's advice and try and be brief in offering you what I hope I can remember as 3 nuggets of advice as you start off early in your careers. The first one that I would offer you is to never forget that leadership is a burden to be borne and not a crown to be worn. It's a burden to be borne and not a crown to be worn. Leaders get themselves into trouble when they come to believe that it's all about the leader. It's not. It's about the led. And as officers in our military services, you all will be entrusted in something that is at once the most precious thing that America has to offer, and also the source of our competitive advantage in the world. And that is the young men and women that choose to serve alongside you. And so never forget that your leadership is all about those you lead. It is a burden to be borne and not a crown to be worn. The second thing I would offer you is to always, leadership is about becoming and not about being. Leadership is about becoming and not about being. Aristotle, 2,500 something years ago, Aristotle said, "Excellence is not an act but a habit." Excellence is not an act but a habit. And he said, we are what we repeatedly do. And so if you think about what Aristotle meant by that, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act but a habit. It's all about becoming more excellent on a day-to-day basis. And one of the things that I have found in my own career is that it is of limited utility when you're faced with a difficult decision or a challenging circumstance. It's of limited utility to think about what somebody else would do in this situation. What would General Wins do about this difficult situation? That's of limited utility. A more important question for you to ask yourself is, if I was a perfect version of myself, what would I do? And then whatever the answer is to that, do that thing. It's always about becoming a more perfect version of yourself and never being satisfied with what you are. And then finally, the last piece of advice that I would offer you is to be worthy of the service of those around you. The thing that makes military service so powerful for many of us that have worn the nation's cloth for all these many years is the teams that we get to be a part of, is doing hard things together with people that you come to love. And the worst thing that you can do is ever let down your teammates. Always strive to be worthy of the service of your teammates. Be worthy of those that serve to your right and to your left. And I think, if you keep these three things generally in mind, your careers are going to get off to an absolutely fantastic start. So, ladies and gentlemen of the commissioning class, I think it's probably time we make it official. So if you would please rise and raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your names. Having been appointed an officer in the United States military, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations, officers.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise for the playing of the Armed Forces Medley and remain standing for the departure of the stage party. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the departure of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the joint commissioning ceremony. Please join us at the individual ROTC pin-on ceremonies immediately following. The Army ceremony will be conducted at Marshall Hall, the Center for Leadership and Ethics. Navy and Marine Corps will be conducted in Cameron Hall. The Air Force will be located at the Memorial Hall. The Coast Guard will be located at the Memorial Gardens. Please move quickly to these locations to celebrate with your newly commissioned officers. Thank you for your attendance today.
I got it. Hand me the gift.
You didn't want it in front of everybody.